Hey everyone, I'm Egoqueenalexis. Love me, I know you do. Today, we are going to be taking a look at my 12,000 points of Tyranids. My Tyranid fleet is massive at this point and only continues to expand into the future of the channel. Now, as before when I went over the Genestealer cult, they won't all be fully painted, obviously. I say obviously because there's a lot of things that I don't bring to the tabletop, and usually I lower my priority on painting them. And in the past few weeks, I have been painting a lot of commission projects. That being said, I want to talk about this Hive fleet and where it rests in the current systems of Warhammer 40k's lore on my channel. So as you guys know, Provoska, Firekoth, and a few other planets have been name-dropped quite a few times on the channel if you listen to the battle reports. This sector, this collection of planets around a star, is where Rosalina Lockwood, an Inquisitor of the Ordo Hereticus, is trying desperately to protect this sector. The reason for it is it's her birth planet, and it's very near and dear to her. That being said, this system is constantly on the assault. If you listen to my Dark Heresy game, Egozician, that I ran, you'd find out that Firekoth was invaded by Genestealer cult, and the invasion could have been prevented, but unfortunately, due to the more radical nature of the Genestealer cult, they managed to make it to Firekoth. Now, Firekoth has two Tyranid Hive fleets coming for it. One of Hive Fleet Leviathan, which you saw in the latest battle report, where the Genestealer cult rebelled against them because it wasn't the right Hive fleet, and Hive Fleet Kraken. My Hive fleet is a splinter fleet off of Hive Fleet Kraken, which has adapted to fighting chaos. Not to the same extent as Hive Fleet Cronus, but is up there when it comes to fighting chaos. Their weapons tinge a little bit blue, and their armor is a little bit dingy and darker, while their skin is also a tad tan darker. Now that being said, the Hive fleet is incredibly intelligent, incredibly fast, and incredibly stealthy, using tactics of hit and run instead of trying to outright siege a planet. They will use things such as Swarm Lords to get down to the planet, get a tactical advantage on the planet, absorb some of the Genestealer cult, and then leave. Now this is a tactic that the Imperials don't know how to properly fight against. Now granted, naval warfare has been the primary way of fighting these Tyranids, but once they get down to the planet, it's up to multiple defenders to try to fight them. On Firekoth, which is my version of Vigilus at this point, because a lot of battles take place there, the Tau, the Tyranids, the Genestealer cult, the Space Marines, and Sisters of Battle have all clashed. Sisters of Battle being the bodyguards of the Inquisitor herself, the Space Marines being legends, because these are the Sons of Garrow, an undocumented chapter of Space Marines, and then finally the Tyranids. Now granted, the Hive Fleet Leviathan is being slowly fought off, but this Hive fleet, this splinter fleet, this small fleet of the massive fleet ahead, has actually gotten and placed a foothold on the planet. Now that being said, it is extremely dangerous because if the rest of the Hive fleet comes, Firekoth will soon just be a barren wasteland. And that's where the battle reports take place. So, with that all being said, I have 12,000 points of Tyranids, which is my second largest army of 40k that I own. My largest being Space Marines because I have multiple chapters. I will be doing a video on them in the future. As of right now, they're all being repainted, so imagine what happens when you have like 20,000 points of stuff that gets painted again. Now, originally I thought I had 15,000 points, and that was last edition when I finally calculated all of it. This edition, points have changed, things have gone down, and I've sold a little bit off of my my Tyranid army whilst moving and everything to cover some costs. My entire goal of this army is to collect one of everything, if not 3 of every single Tyranid organism that exists. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the army and let's talk about it because I'm really excited about this. So I want to start with the absolute nightmare that is my Harridan. The Harridan is a gigantic Tyranid that is absolutely adorable. I mean, look at that yellow face. He is cute as hell. He has no eyes, which is weird. 2 biocannons on his wings, 2 massive scything talons on him, and he is an absolute nightmare to transport, to hold together, to pin to that base. This is one of the worst models Forge World has ever released. But it is so cool and so big. And I absolutely love it. But I'm going to pause real quick because I feel like I'm going to drop and break him. And as you can see, he's been broken a few times. This thing is a nightmare. Now, getting to the army properly, we have a drunk warrior back here who fell over. There we go. So getting to the army properly, you'll recognize all the Genestealers. The Genestealers go back and forth between armies. I calculated them with my Tyranids and with my Genestealer cult, but yeah, it's weird because they're the same model, so I use them for everything. But let's try to start with the HQs. Right here we have 3 Broodlords. You should recognize them. They are also Patriarchs for the Genestealer cult army. Really useful in the game of Warhammer 40k. Really good for Tyranids. Especially Genestealers actually being good with Tyranids, not with Genestealer cult, which is very weird. And it's why they're not being packed up for Nova. Or Adepticon. There we go. Now, in front of them we have 50 Gens... Go away! Not supposed to be here. Silly bastard. Anyway, we have 50 Genestealers. I'm missing 2. They're not here. They're somewhere. I think they fell under a table or something. But regardless, there's 50 Genestealers. I just have to get 2 more out. Now, I'm going over the small table first, and then I'm going to get to the shelves. So, we have 3 Carnufexes. Prior to making this video, I dropped one and he exploded, which was awesome. All of them are armed with crushing claws. Now, I don't count the points of upgrades when I do these videos. So with points for upgrades, this army would be another like 2,000, 3,000 points. But since I don't, it is what it is. But I do really love the crushing claw look. Now, this guy is converted to have the Trevagons or Tyranofex's arms on him. And I think they look much better, because it really gives him this like lunging look that I think a Carnufex would have. And I really enjoy the look of it. Behind him we have another Carnufex. Scything Talons, Crushing Claws, because these are how I got them. And I never really changed them out to Docifexes. I really like the look of Crushing Claws. Granted, I know Docifexes are better in every way. Or just going Scything Talons is better than Crushing Claws, because Crushing Claws are the worst upgrade you can give them. Behind them, we have my converted Venom Throats. They're a Ravner converted with wires. This was prior to the kit coming out, but back in 6th edition, 5th, 6th edition, when these guys first came out, I converted an entire brood of them. I really like them. I've never changed them. I thought they've always fit the look of the Venom Throats, so I always keep them and count them as Venom Throats. Behind them we have 10 warriors. 8 of them are armed with Lash Whip Bone Sword. 1 is armed with a Venom Cannon, and 1 with a oh my god, I know the cannon, the Barb Strangler. Then we have the 3 Lictors. I tend to put my Lictors with their arms down like this. Makes them easier for transport. They break less and you can pin them easier. I want to do this for all of them, although these are the metal models. So when I get the newer kit for them, I'm going to do that. In front of them we have a tiny little Biovore, and yes, that is a Biovore. That is a 2nd edition or 3rd edition Biovore, I can't remember. He is tiny and adorable and devastating on the battlefield. I intend to get about 8 more Biovores in the future, but they're not a high priority. In fact, I'm actually thinking of buying Hive Guard and putting the cannon on top of them, to make biovores instead because it's a cheaper alternative that looks better in my opinion. Next to them we have 20 gargoyles. The Harridan actually fell on them just a second ago, so they did get knocked over. I got the black ones in a trade, the gray ones I bought myself, and I still have to remove the black paint because it is a deeper paint. It's like an actual crappy model paint, like the acrylic paints. Yeah, don't like them. Then I have 3 of the Forge World Mycotic spores, the expensive spores that are really, really good and explode really quickly and deal a lot of damage, and you can drop these before the game, and they're really nasty to do to your opponent. It also forces your opponent all the way back into their deployment zone, and it's really awesome. Behind them, we have 3 Spine Fist Rippers. Really meh units. They only come in the Genestealer cult kit, which I always think is weird. Yeah. So I put 2 on a base, and then I put that weird terrain piece that they have with them. In front of them, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 Ripper Swarms. Just bog standard. I take these in almost every game to get another battalion detachment. Then I have 5 converted Shrikes. They are converted to look like wyverns, so their gun is on their tail, their legs are scythes, and they only have 1 set of wings. Or 1 set of, they have arms and legs. That's it. To make them appear more wyvern-esque. Now, I've seen better conversions of these guys, and that's why I don't really use these guys, because they're not my best work. I just needed them for 1 game once and built them up. But the better one is you take the full, because what this is very, get back up, silly. Come on. Come on. Get back into your flight pack. There you go. Good boy. That one's a boy. Anyway, what I did is I took the warrior torso, the gargoyle tail, snipped off the end, put a devourer on it, and used the gargoyle's wings, along with the Hormagaunts rending claws because they're a little bit bigger and look better for feet. And I think this conversion works. It portrays the message that these are warriors and not gargoyles. So I like them, but at the same time, the better alternative is using the vampire dude guys who have the wings, and they're much bigger, and they look way nicer, and you have the warriors walking. There's the Harridan stand. He wouldn't stand on it. That's how big the peg is for him, and he hates me. Right next to him, we have the Tyranids. He is armed with the acid spray, which is the best weapon to give it, in my opinion. Of course, my opinion. Behind him is Ed and Eddie. Let's get this thing out of the way. Ed and Eddie are my 3 zoanthropes. They are always paired together. All of my big Tyranids are named after cartoon characters, and you'll find that out as we go. I have them all written down somewhere. But that's Ed and Eddie. They're the older edition metal zoanthropes. They're not the oldest edition where it's walking around with a voodoo head, but this is the second incarnation of the Venom Throat, and they are extremely thin. So I kind of like them. Proper brain bugs. Behind that, we have my flying Hive Tyrant, which is devouring a Hellbrute. This is on a much larger base and is one of my prize, it's my showpiece when I field my Tyranid army, is this model. He's armed with the Twin Link Devourers and Brain Leech Worms, pair of wings, and monster scything talons. I took the arms from his kit, put them onto him. Should say her, because these are all women, except for the Trevagon. But anyway, behind the Hive Tyrant we have 4 Raveners. They're just Raveners. I've never used them, and they're in various stages of painting that I've never finished. Then we have by the way, that's the 6th edition Hive Tyrant. This is the 4th edition Hive Tyrant, so she is metal. And again, I did the same thing for the Twin Link Devourers of Brain Leech Worms, pair of scything talons, and this one is walking after destroying a Dreadnought. Although my Hive Tyrants are on bigger bases, the monstrous base is nice, but I want a bigger base for them. I actually prefer that base for my Hive Tyrants. It does technically give me an unfair advantage, but I'm never going to play them in a tournament, so I don't really care too much. And with that, I think we have finished everything that is here. So we have a ton of stuff. I'll get to the boxes in just a second. I'm not worried about them. So we're going to take a look over at my shelf over here. There you can see the Harridan, some Sisters of Silence, Custodian Land Raider. But we're going to go to, not that one yet. Ooh, do we start with this one? Yeah, let's go over here. Okay. So, going through everything, we have another Venom Throat, a first edition Hive Tyrant with Lash Whip, Bone Sword, and Heavy Venom Cannon. They look absolutely silly and they're tiny. You can still use this one in a tournament. Give it wings, set it down so they're tiny and you can hide them really easily. Then we have the Scythe Hero with the Acid Spray. Really good model, decent, not great. The Stone Crusher Carnufex over here with the Stone Crusher and the, well, that thing. Love this kit. I actually split the head in half to show that he has regeneration happening. So he has the tusks, which I put back on because these used to do something. And he has the regeneration head. He also has the Scythe tail. It's not a good upgrade. I wanted to make this guy look cool. That was the whole thing. So on his base, there's a dead orc knob that he has, well, killed. Moving through, we have the Scythe Hero looking at the Barbed Hero's butt. Kind of looks like the Barbed Hero is posing, but whatever. This is actually a decent model on the tabletop. The two biocannons make short work of Imperial Knights, and that's really what you want to target him at. The Monster Scything Talons are also really good at killing heavy tanks, so he is a tank killer and I really like him. Behind him we have a Hive Tyrant. This Hive Tyrant is armed with a Lash Whip Bone Sword and a pair of Bone Swords. This used to be a relic setup, but not anymore. So it's just kind of an obsolete Hive Tyrant, which I eventually need to rip the arms off and do something with. But he doesn't have wings, and I've kind of just left him here. Then we have another, this is the Barbed Hero, twin biocannons and the scythes. This one actually has some highlights on it, this one does not. You can see that I started getting better at painting as the newer models get shown. In the back, we have my three, these are Trigons. They're technically a mix of the Trigon and Moloch, but they are Trigons. This is how I always run them. So Trigon Prime, he is a spooky spaghetti monster. I used wires to make all of this, and I wanted him to be a Toxicrene at first as a stand-in for him, but he's too big and the Toxicrene is absolute garbage. I still want the model. Then over here we have some Hive Guard. They are armed with a weapon that doesn't need line of sight. I forget what it's called. Standing in front of my Swarm Lord. I know he is just a 4-scythed Hive Tyrant from Hive Fleet Behemoth, but I really like him, never changed him. His name is Samurai Jack, and he has been one of my favorite models ever since. Behind him we have another Barbed Hero, and then flying above them we have a Hive Crown. No, this is a Harpy. And I believe that is all the models on this shelf. Then we go over here. We have a Pinecone Testicle, which has always been the nickname of that thing because that's what it looks like. We have 6 more warriors. We have about 30 Spore Mines. We have 4 Hive Guard. These are the 2nd edition Hive Guard where they had the Lash Whip, Rending Claws, and Shield. Then we have a 3rd edition Hive Tyrant. So we have the 1st edition, 3rd edition, 5th edition, and 7th edition Hive Tyrants. So we have one of each of them. Then next to them, we have 3 more Zoanthropes. These Zoanthropes are just made out of a combination of Ravner, Warrior, and Trigon heads to make them stand out just a little bit. They were my stand-in for a while until I got the second edition ones. Then we have well over 150 gods. I stopped counting after 150. They're not all here. There's still some in boxes and one way down there that fell that I'm too lazy to pick up. Then we have 30 Hormagaunts. Hormagaunts are decent, not great. I got my hair stuck on my Tyranid. Okay. Then we have mixed in this lot a couple more Ripper Swarms. Then we have Godzilla herself, which is the Daemons. Daemons is a neat model, looks really scary, and is kind of garbage on the tabletop. Never really got her to work, but I keep trying because I like her. She's adorable. Look at her. She's Godzilla. See? Can't have a Nidzilla list without a Daemons. It's a fast attack Super Carnufex. Moving on, we have a Trevagon. And then last but not least, we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant Bio-Titan is armed with 2 bio-cannons, several other weaponry. I use the one that's actually an AA weapon, or the one that auto-hits. I forget what it is. I gotta look up her abilities again. But I know that this thing is a monster in close combat, as well as ranged. But the problem is it isn't that good when it comes to getting hit by a macro weapon, which at its points will be fighting Warhounds. Fortunately, Tyranids don't have anything to match up to Reavers or Warlords. They just kind of die to them. So, depending on the point game, you're either going to have a lot of fun with Tyranids, or just be picking them up. Anyway, with that all said and done, we have a couple of models in boxes. Take a look over at my shelf really quickly, because that is all nice as I maneuver through my path of... That's broken armor. Anyway, we have 2 more boxes. We have a Venom Throat Box, which I may make Venoms, but I also might make some more Zoanthropes. So I want to try a big blob of them. And then under that, we have the Toxicrene box, but we're not going to build him as a Toxicrene. We're actually going to build him as the Malinceptor, because this guy is actually really good, especially if you have 3 of them. So I'm excited to build this model. There will be a Ransom Rambles for that. Now, that is everything that I have for my Tyranid army. If we combined it with the Genestealer cult, we roughly equal out to about 18,000 points with a few upgrades. And it is absolutely insane. Like, I'd be running these with Tyranids, not Genestealer cult, because Genestealer cult is a terrible codex. But I'm still going to play it because I love the cult. What can I say? I'm a masochist. Now, with that all said, let's talk about the future of this army. As I said before, I intend to get 3 of every model. Every single one of them. Every single edition. That is my goal. I'm going to hunt down eBay for the older models. And I really like running things in 3s. Like, Carnufexes in 3s are insane. Especially if your opponent tries to assault them. They might as well just take that unit off the table. Okay? I want to get some more Carnufexes. I want to try running a army with 9 of them in it. I want to get more of these. I want to try running 9 of them. I don't want to get any more Hive Tyrants. I have enough Hive Tyrants. Rippers, I have enough of. Genestealers, I have enough of. Gods, I have enough of. I even have the 2nd edition ones. Same with the Hormagaunts. I didn't bring them out because they look terrible. Gargoyles are interesting. I want to get a full unit of... Well, this is a full unit, so I want to try them out, but I don't think they're going to be that good. I want to get 9 Biovores. I like my warriors the way they are. I don't intend to change them. Raveners, I don't really care too much for them, but there are a lot of Tyranids that I still need. The Toxicrene is going to be one of them. The big gobbledygook and the Exocrine. I forget what the frog one is called. The one that just eats everything. It's it shares the kit with the Exocrine, and I cannot remember its name. I'll remember it later. Somebody will comment it in the comment section down below. I have all of the Forge World models. I do intend to get 2 more of these and 2 more of them. Although the next one, I'm going to bolt it together. I'm going to put, because these are magnetized, which is a terrible idea. Don't magnetize these. I'm going to rip out the magnets once I get a good enough drill. And I'm going to put a drill hole through this and try to drill them onto the wings so the wings never part from it. And then I'm going to build it a custom base, which is going to be a thick-ass pipe that goes up its butt. Because one of the funny things about this model is his underside. He's got a cute little neck, doesn't he? Yep. Anyway. Other things that I intend to get. 2 more Dharmacarans because they're adorable. And look at them. They're just so cute. I really like Dharmacarans. I really want them to be good. I love this codex. Like, it's a lot of fun. I only want one of these, but I want the Spore Cyst, which is the terrain piece one. I intend to get Tyranid terrain, like the capillary towers or capillary towers, however you want to say it. I want to get like 6 of them to use as objective markers, or, you know, like full out objectives, as well as some brood nests and all sorts of things. I do want to get 2 more of him. I want to get the Hive Crone, just so I have 2 of the Tyranid aircraft, because I don't really care too much for the aircrafts of the Tyranids, because their ground troops are way better. And that's pretty much it. Now, my thoughts on Tyranids this edition is that they're a fun army. And unlike the Genestealer cult, they actually have some survivability and some effective combos. And yes, I'm taking shots at Genestealer cult. Now, granted, where they have a lack is deep striking units that have bombs. So, you know, get yourself Jackal Alphas and 3 units of Atlan Jackals and have some fun. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I had a lot of fun showing off the Tyranids in the studio here. If you ever want to come down for a game, I game at several game stores, but the most prominent one is the one that I work at, which is Games of Plunder in Cobleskill, New York. I am the manager there. Anyway, guys, if you want to check out more from this channel, please check in the links in the description down below. While you're there, you can also check out my social media. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is where I post a lot of sneak peeks of stuff coming up. I usually post all of my painting projects there that you'll never see videos on. And I really like it. Also, if you're super awesome, you can check out my Patreon. I meant to say Instagram is where I post stuff. Patreon is where I'm going to start posting exclusive videos effective next month, which is going to be like, they're going to be exclusive for about 2 weeks, more than likely. And it's going to be just a weekly show of me and Victor sitting down and talking about random stuff in Warhammer 40k in a podcast format. That and me and Scruffers talking about inappropriate or dumb stuff when it comes to Warhammer 40k. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun. I'm Alexis the Eco Queen. I love you guys. Bye.